good, everybody? It's your boy Todd Smith here once again, alongside my tag team partner Dale Clifford out there in Fernley, Nevada. Welcome to yet another episode of the No Gimmicks podcast. Dale, what's good, my man?
What is good on an episode about what is bad?
Right. Couldn't have said it any better myself.
So, yeah, obviously a lot of good things with us, but the theme of this episode is bad. Bad pay-per-view names, largely generated by WWE's recent creation that we've got coming up this weekend, Great Balls of Fire. It is in our countdown, but you're going to have to wait to figure out where it is. So as we start it, we're going to go with, at number 10, is Impact Wrestling's Hard Justice. Not a terrible name. That's why it's kind of coming in at number 10. It just sounds a little funny to me. That's kind of why I'm kind of picking it here at 10. Just the name is just a little off to me.
Yeah, because I mean, what other kind of justice is there? Is there such a thing as soft justice?
Weak justice. How about weak justice?
Come on now, TNA. Yeah, y'all could do better than that. So here we go. Coming in at number 9, we have from the WWE Roadblock. So my whole question is, who exactly is serving as the roadblock and who's getting blocked from what exactly?
Right. Is that you kind of have to set up. There has to be someone that is being stopped on the progress going forward, which you kind of see. But it's also interesting, too, because there was a wrestler named Roadblock, and now you have a pay-per-view named Roadblock, and it's all kind of mashing together.
Old school WCW jobber, actually. I remember that guy. He was huge. He did this one move where he actually almost just kind of like laid back over the top rope and just like his natural like size, give him the momentum to almost do like a moonsault onto the opponent. That's about the most memorable thing about him. And plus, he wore actual like tape like that. They would have like, you know, like a scene for a Roadblock around him.
At number 8, we've got In Your House Mind Games. Now, In Your House was very much known for kind of making themes of the In Your House pay-per-view. This one, well, I think we kind of realized maybe goes to Mankind-ish. That's why it's low on our countdown here. It just theming an In Your House pay-per-view to fit one specific wrestler to me is kind of odd.
Yeah. And they actually kind of did that a lot back then in the WWF. But my whole thing is, it's just like, yeah, wrestling, professional wrestling is a physical sport. It's more about what actually takes place in the ring from a physical context, not from the mind games. I mean, yes, psychology is a part of the game, but it's not exactly something that I would think of like when actually naming a pay-per-view. So that's kind of
hold on. Yeah. So they're never going to do it if they ever brought it back. In Your House Cerebral Assassin for Triple H.
Oh, Dale, you just got my idea, man. I hope that they don't run with it. So coming in here at number 7, we have a dual entry. We have Cyber Sunday and Taboo Tuesday. Now, on paper, this concept actually looked pretty brilliant. The WWE wanted to give the fans, I guess you could say the WWE Universe, the opportunity to actually basically use their input from voting online to choose who was going to face off against whom on their pay-per-view. But as we all know, the WWE definitely had to put their hands in this, and they were the ones who basically altered the voting results and chose who was going to be, you know, wrestling whom on the pay-per-view. Just kind of a silly name, you know, when you think about it. When I think of Cyber Sunday, I'm not going to lie. The first thing that pops up to me is I'm thinking, let's go to the mall and let's go shopping.
Well, yeah, that's exactly the thing. Is like, to me, is like a Cyber Sunday coming from WWE to me is like, oh, it's a deal on WWE Shop, right? Not a name of a pay-per-view. And obviously, it just kind of goes, as you were saying, really, WWE was going to allow WWE Universe to pick their matches?
Nah, not happening. And then for the Taboo Tuesday side of things, that just kind of thinks of, you know, when I think of something taboo, I'm thinking of something kinky. Now, I know that was kind of past Attitude Era, you know, whatnot. So it's just like, I don't know. It just didn't really quite seem fitting to me.
All right. So number 6, we go In Your House again for It's Time. I guess time for
time for what?
Time for a couple matches. Time for I don't know. Don't get it. It's time for a 1, 2, 3 disqualification tag team match. I don't know.
About the only thing we could think of with that one was because at the time, see what I did there? I believe Vader was a competitor on the WWF roster, and his whole thing was, it's time, it's Vader time. So maybe it was tied into that somehow. But yeah, my first question was, I was just like, yeah, it's time for what exactly? So coming in at number 5, from WCW, we had Beach Blast. Now, Beach Blast, I think, actually would have been a fitting title for a pay-per-view had it actually taken place on the beach. You know, they actually had the ring down there, actually on the beach, not too far from the water. However, we actually did some research as to the location of this pay-per-view, and we determined it took place in Mobile, Alabama. Now, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Where the hell is there a beach in Mobile, Alabama?
Because that was the other thing. We were kind of comparing it to Bash at the Beach.
Right.
Which we then realized took place at a lot of beach locations.
Florida.
Daytona Beach and or Florida or San Diego. The locations made sense. Mobile, Alabama, to me, was like when I'm thinking beach, is not a spot I'm thinking of. Now, maybe viewers out there will tell us that we are missing a hot spot beach location in Mobile, Alabama. But right now, I'm not thinking about a top beach in Mobile, Alabama. So to me, it's like I ain't going for a beach blast. No beach party at Mobile, Alabama.
Yeah. Better cancel them tickets you had, Dale, for your trip to Mobile, Alabama there.
Let's get to number 4 on the list here. Let's go ahead and take a look at this Tuesday in Texas. Come on. Really, WWF? That's all you could come up with? This seems pretty generic and kind of no duh. It's a Tuesday in Texas pay-per-view, and all you're going to come up with is this Tuesday in Texas. Yeah. Definitely that just generic style of a name right there definitely puts it into the top 5 on our list.
I mean, I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt here, but yeah, I'm with you, Dale. That one definitely deserved a spot on our list. So coming in here at number 3 from the WWE, although an awesome pay-per-view, which basically paid tribute to ECW, what a dumb name. One Night Stand. Now, the first issue that I have with this name is there was more than one of them. So what was the second one supposed to be called? Second Night Stand? You know?
And if you're going to think about the adult way of one night stand, you don't have second night stands either.
No, you don't. That's why it's called One Night Stand. Thank you, ma'am. It's over with. It's done.
Yeah. So again, it's like the pay-per-view itself turned out fine, but obviously the name is what we're getting at here is a little funny.
And I know, hey, you know, because like I said, it was based off of like old school ECW. I know ECW was kind of raunchy, on the edge, you know, kind of like, you know, pushing the envelope kind of thing. But yeah, it's just like One Night Stand. No, not working for us here.
All right. So as we move, number 2 on the list, a pay-per-view called Beware of Dog. Obviously, I'm assuming this one took place well in advance of Dog the Bounty Hunter. Maybe it was Junkyard Dog. I don't know.
British Bulldog, it had to have been, just because of time frame. That's the only thing I can think of, right?
This is another one that could have been an In Your House pay-per-view. In Your House, Beware of Dog.
Yeah, I think it was actually. I want to say that it was one of the In Your House, because they.
Then again, this is going to go to WWF at the time should have stopped doing this In Your House theming pay-per-views, because obviously that's 3 that made our countdown.
Yes. So now, moving on to the number 1 spot on our worst pay-per-view names list. And this one comes from the WWE, and yes, it will be taking place tomorrow on pay-per-view. Goodness gracious, Great Balls of what a dumb-ass name. Great Balls of Fire. Now, let's start first off with the logo. Because when you sent me a text not too long ago, Dale, and you showed me the logo, I just said, you've got to be kidding me. That is not really what the PG WWE is going with. Because since our show tends to be PG at times, I'll try to clean it up as much as possible. It literally looks like a pair of balls in a shaft.
On fire.
What it looked like.
Obviously, you got to have the balls on fire because it's in the name.
Right.
But the trail of fire makes it look like something else. So there was a modification that they did. It's like there's a one logo out there that's completely different. It's just like fire, and then it says the words Great Balls of Fire. But then there's the modification that they made to this first one where you've got the 2 flaming balls and then a big stream of fire.
Yeah.
Around the words instead of just the one.
And not to mention, you name a WWE, a professional wrestling, or shall I say, a sports entertainment pay-per-view after a Jerry Lee Lewis song? What are you guys thinking? Come on now.
And that's also the thing. Is like, so now we go into this one, and we have every match set. Not a single one of them involves fire.
Fire. Not one. Sorry, Kane. You got left off the card, right? So basically, just to kind of give you guys an idea as to what happened here and why I actually got to name the number 1 spot for the worst pay-per-view recently on our predictions episode for Impact Slammiversary, or I guess we can now say is Global Force Wrestling Slammiversary 15. I actually was perfect with my predictions for once. Named every single one of them correctly, so that's why I actually got to name the odds on this list here.
Well, I was just glad that we were a little different because it makes one of us come out a little bit better when we go different.
Yes.
Than when we did our ROH ones where we basically agreed on every match and we kind of came up short on those ones.
We flopped on those.
Yep. So that's the thing. Is like this weekend is all around this episode of bad pay-per-view names and this weekend's WWE Great Balls of Fire, which is number 1 on the countdown. And that's kind of why we obviously wanted to take a look back in history at some bad pay-per-view names.
Yes, and one thing is for sure, we actually had to trim the fat here because we literally could have added more names to this list, and we could have talked about worst pay-per-view names for professional wrestling all night long. But unfortunately, we have come to the end of this episode of the No Gimmicks podcast. So thank you for joining us for the top 10 worst pay-per-view names in professional wrestling of all time. We are No Gimmicks, No Image, all wrestling, all the time. Please subscribe to our official YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/the No Gimmicks podcast. Please make sure that you subscribe publicly so that way we are aware of your support. Check out Craig Perkins' articles on ProWrestling.com. We would like to hear from our viewers, so please leave us some feedback in our comment section. Also, please like our Facebook and follow us on Twitter at the No Gimmicks PC. Remember, sharing is caring. Feel free to share the links to our episodes with other pro wrestling fans on your social media accounts as well. That does it for this episode of No Gimmicks Podcast. For my tag team partner Dale Clifford in Fernley, Nevada, this is Todd Smith in Bristol, Connecticut signing off. Until next time around, y'all take care.